Welcome back to another episode of Road to Abundance. Today we have a friend, Craig Goldberg. He's the owner and CEO of inharmony. So guys, just to tell you a little bit of story background. First I tried a vibration bed at one of my friend's house. It was an amazing experience and I was like, I need one. So he started to tell me like, you need to meet Craig. And then I went to an event where it was at a facility and I met Craig and I tried his bed. It was very similar, same technology, but the bed was the color I wanted, black, and the company. I loved everything. So Craig.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I appreciate you, brother. Grateful to be here.
So tell us a little bit more like your background, what did you do, and how did you come up with that technology? And then we'll talk about all the benefit and all the good stuff about it.
Totally. My story starts like I think a lot of people's story starts when you start thinking about alternative therapies and ways to heal the body. And it is, my wife got sick. Conventional medicine didn't have any answers for us. This is going back almost 10 years ago, a little bit more than 10 years ago. And the short story is test after test, doc after doc. Nobody could tell us what was wrong. In the end, it wound up being gluten. We cut gluten out of our diet, and literally within 3 days, all of our symptoms went away. This led to a deep dive in understanding how to truly live a healthy life. Eventually, it led to us being vegan for a little while and being super conscious about what we put in our bodies and just cleaning up everything, what we put in our mouth, what we put on our skin, and what we allow to be kept in the air around us. And that eventually led to us traveling the country and the globe, speaking, teaching people what we had learned. And to each event that I went to, I would seek out these sound baths, these sound healers. And I didn't know exactly why I loved what was happening when I laid in front of these bowls, bells, chimes, didgeridoos, all these magical instruments. But I knew I liked it. And I wanted it on tap. I'm an audiophile. I like good music. I like to feel the vibrations of the music when I'm watching a movie or listening to the music that I love. And I was looking for a delivery system for that. So actually, I was laying in my house and I took my 5.1 surround sound system at the time. I took my center channel, put it in between my legs, my right and my left front, my right and my left rear. And I bought a gong CD and I was just cranking it on my receiver and my stereo system and trying to get that sound healing on tap. Well, lo and behold, I wasn't using the right technology and I didn't have the right setup. But just a few months after I was trying to do that at my home, my now business partner, Dom, called me up and he said, "Hey, I've got something you need to check out. Come try my sound lounge." And I went down and had the same experience that you had not too long ago. And my first sound lounge experience where I was just completely blown away and completely wowed by it. And in fact, I got started in this industry the same way you did, which is I just loved it. I wanted one in my house. I wanted to use it. I got a pretty big mouth. I started telling a lot of people about it. And before I know it, I've got a role doing business development with this new company at the time called Holistic Health Science. And that eventually led into me becoming a partner and an owner and led us to where we're at now. We've been doing this for 6 years. And we made our first sound lounge in November of 2016. And it's been a beautiful ride. Now we've iterated and created our own products. And we just got a design patent on our meditation cushion, which is sitting right behind me. And it's just been a very wild ride that's led to these incredible relationships like Harry and Dr. John, and of course you as well. Honored to be here and honored to be having this conversation where we get to teach people around this incredible technology that I truly believe in my core everybody needs to know and experience and have access to in one way, shape, or another. So grateful to be here.
That's awesome, man. So I know that a lot of people that go into the holistic approach like you are people like me that had a lot of health issue. Energy is everything. So when you have a disease, it's actually a dis-ease. A lot of people know about it now. And at one time I had like 36 doctors on my case in Canada. And I even started to go like people say, oh, healthcare is free in Canada. It comes with a lot of bad stuff because it's free. They don't care. And also it's very stacked up. Yeah. So I started going private when I got money and nobody could figure it out. So I had a problem with my nerve and I had a problem with my gut. And just like you, I started seeking therapy. And I like that. I didn't even think about the bed actually to be like the gong or like the sound bath healing, which is totally like the new way of doing it. Totally. And Yeah, it's really cool. I used to do sound bath healing, and that's probably why I really love the bed. And I
So
also tried
it's an
the bed.
amplified version of that,
Yeah.
right? So look, a gong is a little bit different, especially as the gongs get bigger and you get closer. The vibratory field of a gong is pretty massive, and it's a really big sound wave that comes off of it. But a smaller bowl, chime, bell, even a didgeridoo to a certain degree, it just doesn't give off as much of a vibratory experience as the sound lounge does in particular.
Mhm.
And even our meditation cushion is powerful, super powerful. So you're simply you're utilizing an amplified version. And if you listen to a gong, which a recording of a gong, it's one of the most complex frequencies on the planet. It's not just one frequency. The beauty and the significance of the frequencies that come off of a gong is well studied and well versed with folks that are in our community that work with our tech on a regular basis. You're basically laying on a piece of machinery that amplifies those frequencies and delivers it directly to every cell in your body.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I use it also with, we can talk later on it, but I use it with psilocybin. I use it for meditation purpose. So guys, the best thing for me, and especially for my girlfriend, she's not that good with meditation. Like a lot of people tell me I can't meditate. I'm not that good. It's very simple. It takes 10 to 15 minutes for the prefrontal cortex to deactivate. So this is your thinking mind, the insane mind. Sometimes some people could be even more. That's why I suggest doing breath work before doing meditation. But a lot of people, the problem is you have a lot of senses that are connected to your reality: the touch, the feel, the smell, the hearing, and the feeling. So all that will keep you connected to your reality. And when you're trying to meditate, what you're trying to do is disconnect, shut down the mind, and go deep in meditation. So for my girlfriend, I was like, you need to try that bed. As soon as I got with her, I was like, I'll bring you to Harry, and you got to sit on, like, you got to lay down on that bed. 15 minutes in, she woke up. She's like, oh shit, like cross eyes, like when you're in another dimension on that bed. And then she was like, I could meditate real fast, because for me personally, what I noticed is, since you have a lot of your senses that are involved in the process, because you have an audio, like your playlist, you have sounds that you created that are frequency sound, nothing to do with rap or anything like that, guys. That is bad frequency. It's all the good stuff in your ears. And then you're laying on a bed or the cushion, you're sitting on it, and the frequency or affecting the sound, the sense that would be the feeling, the touch, because your whole body is feeling those frequency. And then you put a blindfold, so then you have your vision closed. So just there, you have 3 senses that are activated. So 3 out of 5, you're starting way ahead than if you just try to put a blindfold and meditate. I'm able to do it, but I've been doing it for a while, and the bed gets me there way faster. So that's what I love about it.
So we serve. Let's talk about that in a little bit deeper detail. So we basically serve two audiences on the front when it comes to meditation. Those that have a regular meditative practice, Mike, like you, and those that can't meditate. I actually fall into the latter, just like your girlfriend. I had a really hard time turning off the monkey mind, quieting the mind, turning off the task list, the to-do list. I'm an A-type personality. I am constantly getting after different goals, whether it's personal, whether it's running and athletic, or if it has to do with business or something with my family. We're always focused on the next achievement, the next thing that we're trying to do, often multiple things we're trying to do at once. And for me to sit down and meditate and to open my mind and to free my mind and allow thoughts to flow through, I was like, you're crazy. That's just not working. And then I had the same experience. I got on the tech. So for the people that don't have that ability to meditate or can't turn it off, that are stuck in a beta brainwave, your mind is distracted with sound and vibration. And I'll talk about that in 1 second. So for those of you that can't meditate, all of a sudden you're literally, your mind, body, and spirit knows what to do once it hears these frequencies, once it hears this music, once it feels these vibrations. It is guided into that deep meditative brainwave state, alpha or theta, right? And even deeper than that, depending on the pace and how deep you want to go. For those that know how to meditate and have a meditative practice, we take you deeper, faster. So you're able to get to that depth of place where you're turning off that prefrontal cortex faster. And that's the beautiful part. So I've got folks that buy our meditation cushions and our sound lounge in particular that call me and they say, whoa, I've been meditating for 20 years and I didn't realize how deep I can go. I didn't realize I wasn't going all the way, because it's difficult to train something to happen inside your mind, right? I don't know exactly where you're at. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but using sound and frequency gets you there. And you already started to bring this up. Because you're listening to the same frequencies that you're feeling, your brain becomes overrun with the same signals of the same frequency. So in the top layer of our skin, we have something called mechanoreceptors. These mechanoreceptors are all over our body. It's what sends us, there's 3 different types, and it's what changes, what sends signals of changes in pressure. So as you feel wind against your skin, that subtle change in pressure sends a signal to your brain. Well, that's done in a frequency. As vibration is being felt by that mechanoreceptor, it's sending that back to your brain. And when your entire body is vibrating at that same frequency, and your auditory nerve is sending the same signal of the same frequency to your brain, the brain gets a little overwhelmed. And eventually it just kind of gives up and it says, oh, I'm just going to drop into this field. I'm just going to drop into this frequency. And you're just taken and guided into a meditative state. No words, no guidance, just the sound and frequency doing exactly what it needs to do for your brain, creating this 3-dimensional, fully immersive experience that it's rejuvenative. It revives you. It gives you a nice, healthy rest. It helps you with focus and perspective. It gives you downloads, if you want to call them downloads, or ideas or thoughts or outcomes. There's just so many potential uses for it. And it's that 3-dimensional, fully immersive experience that we call the meditative experience that really gets you there.
And before I talk a little bit more about meditation and the benefit and how good it is, because everybody should meditate, and I'll explain why very soon. Can you explain what does the technology in terms of benefit do, like the frequency, the harmony, everything? How does it heal the body? Not only at the meditation side, I'll circle back into that, but how does it heal the body?
So the biggest thing is it resets your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. This is first and foremost.
So for people,
I'll go into it right now. All right. So sympathetic nervous system response and parasympathetic, and I'll explain what those are in layman's terms, and I'll also explain how it operates in the brain, because this is the reptilian part of the brain that has developed over millennia. And our environments that we're in now our brains have not evolved. Our nervous system has not evolved into the times that we live in today. So a sympathetic nervous system response is associated with fight or flight. It's also associated with stress and anxiety and anxiousness. Parasympathetic is associated with calm and collected, relaxed and ready, as I call it. Okay. We're designed to go back and forth between sympathetic and parasympathetic, and we're designed to do this several times throughout the day and regularly, but it's really as needed. And the way that this was designed over the years, this was designed to protect us, to save us. So you're designed all day long to be hanging out in parasympathetic. I'm just minding my own business, moseying along. I'm eating some food. I'm hanging out with friends. Everything is good. Your sympathetic nervous system response, think of it as your spidey sense. Think of it as all of a sudden, something's not right. And all of a sudden, you want to be on edge. So 4 things happen when your nervous system automatically triggers into a sympathetic nervous system response. 4 things. First, you get increased adrenaline and cortisol flowing through your blood. This makes you more aware, and this pushes power and strength to the major muscle groups in the body so that you're prepared to fight or you're prepared to run. We're talking about quads, hamstrings, biceps, chest, back. You are prepared to have a conflict of one way or another. The second thing that happens, which is very, very important, is that it turns off rational thinking. The brain is the most expensive energetically in the body. It takes the most amount of energy to run the brain. And that complex rational thinking is a distraction when you're in a fight or flight mode. I either need to fight or I need to run. And those evaluations happen very, very quickly. And it's by simply situational awareness, just simply evaluating your environment, and you make that decision. The third thing that happens is your body turns off digestion. The second most expensive process behind your mind is your digestion. And if I have to fight or run, I don't need to digest my food. I need to go. The part that really gets me is that when you're in this fight or flight, it doesn't matter how good or how clean your diet is. Doesn't matter how organic, doesn't matter the supplements you're taking. None of it matters. If you're in that sympathetic nervous system response, your digestion is turned off. And then the last thing, which is most relative over the last 3 years or so, is it turns off your immune system. I don't have to fight off bacteria and viruses. I simply need to deal with whatever's in front of me. Mm-hmm. This is all fine and good if you're walking down a dark alley in New York City and all of a sudden that spidey sense goes off and you need to protect yourself or you need to get out of there. Mm-hmm. The problem is, in this day and age, too many of us, myself included, are walking around in a sympathetic nervous system response from the moment we wake up until the moment we go to bed.
Yeah.
For reasons that are not applicable in today's world. So our nervous system is not caught up. We're triggered for stupid things like my wife did this thing again, or my mom said that thing again, or I can't believe my brother is still doing this thing, right? And a lot of us are sitting in that sympathetic nervous system response. So one of the most amazing aspects to our technology is that it resets sympathetic nervous system response to parasympathetic in a matter of about 15 minutes. I know that was a little longer than we thought when we wanted, but really important when you start to think about what's happening in a sympathetic nervous system response.
Yeah. So guys, to make it like even easier to digest, normally imagine you would have a tiger that comes to you. So that's when you're going to go in the synthetic.
Does that happen a lot in Fort Lauderdale?
The what?
Does that happen a lot in Fort Lauderdale?
Sometimes more crocodile. No, it's like, but that's what, like, that was the purpose of it back then. And then your body needed to cool back down. So but now with stress, like you said, could be your girlfriend saying we need to talk. Could be your boss saying, hey, what about your stats? Stress. We're so stressed every day that anything that comes into your mind or anything that comes in your life, you're not ready to deal with because you're already aggravated, you're already stressed, and then it's another slap. So the thing is, meditation will not only help you to manifest whatever you want on this life, will help you bring frequency to matter, but it will also relax your mind so you can think more clearly. And it's funny because today a girl was saying on my question on the Instagram, she was like, don't you want to overthink? Because overthinker, the genius, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, like who said that? Like,
I don't feel it in your heart.
Yeah, it's like the time that you have the best idea is in the shower. And when your mind is clean, not hearing all those voices, that's when, like Craig was saying, I like to call it download. You can say an inner voice, higher self, whatever you want to say. It's thoughts that appear in your mind and you know the difference. The more you get in tune with it, you know if it's just the voice saying shit, because she's never saying anything good. That voice is talking about the past or the future or anything like that. And it's just activating the stress. And then you have the download, which is very peaceful frequency that you'll like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. So the bed will help you with that process. So it takes a long time for meditation. I meditated for an hour. I did a lot of things. And some days my mind just don't want to shut up. So that's why those pieces of tech are amazing for that purpose. It's like just getting you there way faster. And you combine this meditation with gratitude practice. This is how you're going to manifest your life, because you cannot create your future based on the current stress. Einstein had a famous quote, you cannot solve a problem from the perspective that created the problem. So that's exactly what happened in your life. You have a problem. You're in a certain frequency of stress. Then you're going to get in meditation or vibration state or on the bed, and then you will see things differently. Because when you come out of that, you're aligned. Yes, you'll get other trigger. Yes, you're going to need to go back. Yes, life is going to happen. But the thing is, you can reset as many times as you want. Like sometimes I don't feel like I'm productive at work. I'll go on the cushion or on the bed, sometimes only for 11 minutes, because there's the minimum time is like 11 minutes on the playlist. Sometimes I just need that quick reset. I put it, I reset my thoughts, my pattern of thinking. I shut down the stress and I come back to work and I'm like, wow, it's like just easing it. And normally when I was doing meditation, and it was not a good day, like not a good day, but when I gonna go for 11 minutes, it's because I'm distracted. That's what I mean. It's not a good workspace in my head right now. It would take me a lot more time. And with the discount that you're going to get in the link, guys. And he's also giving you access to a 90-day of listening to the music without the technology. Then you can add the technology, but the investment of just the sitting cushion is like less than $700, guys. He's working with a firm. If you don't want to pay it one shot, you can take a monthly payment. It's like insane. Like this will bring your meditation to another level. And once you understand how powerful meditation and all those practices are that will help you to manifest your future life, you will invest it. And just so you know, Craig didn't give me the technology. I paid for it. Like I reached out to him. I was like, I really like it. I'll pay for it. And I got the bed at home. It's an energy exchange. And then I was like, okay, let's get it to other people. Can you give me a small discount for my audience and teach them what it does in more specific word for this technology? So yeah, like I know there's 3 products. And they work with transducer, and like he said, it's going to harmonize the music that you hear with the sense, the feeling in your body.
So let me add a couple things in there, Mike. First of all, I love the story. I love how we met. I love how all of this came together too, especially with your audience and the people that are following you, and how Harry introduced us at Dr. John's event. All of it was really quite serendipitous and quite beautiful, which I would expect nothing less just in my life. And now that I know your life too, even our logos and the way that we're using things, it's just, there's a lot of perfectness in here. So there's more benefits. So we just talked about parasympathetic and sympathetic and resetting your nervous system. We also, the vibration itself sends a signal to every muscle in your body telling it to relax. So if you've got muscles that are tense or tight around an old injury, or if you're sore, or if you pulled a muscle, if your back's spasming, something like this, the vibration therapy over time is going to help to relax those muscles and send triggers telling it to relax. So that's a big benefit. It helps with lactic acid buildup. It helps with lymphatic drainage. There are so many different aspects to the body that help give your body the tools it needs to operate the way it was designed to operate. Too many of us are walking around in that sympathetic nervous system response, and that's why we're showing that dis-ease, because the body is distracted with fight or flight, and it's not in a position where it can actually do the work that it needs to do to detox, to cleanse, to clean, to clear, and to activate different parts of our body's own self-defense mechanisms. That's the first thing I'll add. And then this is that tactile transducer that you mentioned. In here is a magnet. That magnet oscillates. When you're laying or sitting on the cushion, you're actually sitting right on top of this transducer. And then when you're laying on the sound lounge, there's 4 of these. When you're on our practitioner, there's 2 of these. And we're feeding the music directly into the cushion, directly into the mattress. And you're actually feeling those vibrations and those frequencies, and there's overlap between here and the ears, like I talked about before. But it's really it's a game changer on so many different levels. I'm glad you see it, and I appreciate you allowing us to get the word out.
Yes. And you actually need to try it, guys. Like, I had a friend come over from Canada, and I'm like, yo, I bought this bed. And he's like, wow, well, you wasted your money. And I'm like, no, wait, bro, let me install it. And then I get you on it, because it's something like abundance. It's like all the work that I do, you need to feel it, because happiness and meditation and all that good stuff, if you don't feel it, you can't see the benefit. It's not like, oh, you'll make 100,000 more. Like, this is just one of the things. Wealth will come when you're aligned and when you tap into those frequency. But those types of technology, it's like the infrared sauna and all that stuff. If you try it, if you actually use it, that's when you see the real benefit. So yeah, it's amazing. And from before your previous life to including all those things, all those new biohacking stuff in your life, you've seen massive change in your health, in your business, in everything.
When we show up better day to day, the world around us shows up better for us as well. And look, I'm a huge fan of multiple modalities: infrared sauna, cold therapy, vibration therapy, obviously, red light therapy, blue light therapy, right? Photobiomodulation as a whole, rebounding, jumping up and down, stretching, yoga, right? All of these aspects are all contributing to the best version of myself. And stacking these modalities together, you're right. It's just something that you need to experience. It's something that you need to have in your life. And as you show up more relaxed, I'll give a great example. You're driving to work and there's traffic on your route. Now you're running late and you have a very important appointment. And yes, you could text the person and say, hey, I'm running late. But if you do that, that this is something that you said you gave your word you were going to be on time for. Maybe it's an interview. Maybe it's something, right? It creates that stress. And when you're in that sympathetic nervous system response, you start to feel the sweat. You start to feel that environment. If you start using our tech on a regular basis and you start meditating on a regular basis, that same exact environment might not trigger you. Now, it might. But hopefully, if you have the training and if you're teaching your body how not to be triggered, if you're teaching your body, even breath work, right? Taking a few deep breaths to stay off that sympathetic nervous system response. Maybe you roll down the window and you turn on the music, you send that text and you just take your licks. Hey, I'm going to be running a couple minutes late. And chances are when you send that text, the reply back is, no problem, drive safe. I'll see you when you get here. Right? Now, same scenario, but two very different responses to that scenario. And it's really the way that we train our body and our nervous system, the way that we show up day in and day out for ourselves to teach our nervous system how to operate and how we want it to react, that you can stay that off. Now, if there's a threat to your well-being, you're going to be triggered into a sympathetic nervous system response. That's not going to be taken away from you. Your sympathetic nervous response is still there. So when that tiger comes jumping, when you're at the zoo and it comes jumping over the barricade and it comes to attack you, you'll be able to save the day and swing in and make that happen. But it's really important that we continue to sharpen our tools and that we continue to show up as best we can day in and day out. We work with a lot of elite athletes, NFL, NHL, Olympians, and they're all looking for that 2 millimeter change, that 2 millimeters, that two tenths of a second reduction in their time. And tools like ours are tools that help them get that edge in between their practices and their tryouts, so that they can be more effective when they're actually on the field and it's game time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's more how you react to life and how you do things in life. So like you said, things will happen. I'm still late sometimes to meeting. I still get stuck in traffic. Things will happen, but it's just you start reacting differently. When you meditate, when it's a practice, instead of having road rage and wanting to kill everyone on the road, you actually now I just say everything is meant to happen the way it is. And there's a reason that I'm late. It could be that if I was there 10 minutes earlier, a car would have smashed in my car. And then it's just oh, I'm late. And that being late is saving me an accident that you don't see. The more you're aligned, the more your higher self will protect you from all that bullshit. So the thing is, there's always a reason behind. You just want to see it. And that's what meditation taught me.
I'll give you one more. First of all, I love that example. And you're right. You're always exactly where you're supposed to be, whether that's something that's comfortable or uncomfortable. I was at the airport and I thought I was running late for my flight. And I needed to get some food because there was no food on this particular flight. And this woman that was in front of me, bless her beautiful soul, she must have tried the debit card code 6 times. The guy behind the counter was like, it's coming back, not worry. And she's like, no, I know there's cash in there. Just hit credit. And that normally would have driven me nuts. I'm in a rush. I got someplace to go. Let's go. And I literally just watched. I put a little smile on my face and I was just like, where am I not supposed to be right now? I'm supposed to be right here. And this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's just supposed to be that. They wound up delaying that flight. So I wasn't in nearly as big of a rush as I thought I was in the first place. And there was no way for me to know that it was delayed. As soon as I got there, they were like, oh, that flight's not boarding for another 20 minutes. And I was like, cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And to tell an airport story where I was I show up, I when I moved from LA to Miami, I show up with the dog. I have an appointment. So I'm leaving the 31st at night, 10 p.m. I packed all day. The movers showed up late. They canceled one day. They show up the next day. It's a nightmare. You know how moves are. I'm they're testing my limit in every single way. The company that comes for the car come one day before. So not only that I plan to do stuff, but they're like, oh, our guy is there. You need to put your car on the truck. We bring it to Miami. And I'm like, guys, you said tomorrow. They're like, yeah, but he's here now. And I'm like, fuck, I had things planned for tomorrow. What I need the car. It's my last day in the city. And then we pull up at the airport. I have 2 luggage, 2 carry-on, and my 2 service dog. And the girl started fucking with me.
Oh.
JetBlue fucks. I'm the highest rank with JetBlue. Never had a problem. They upgrade my flight. I'm always on first class. This girl come out and she started telling me that my dogs are not service dog. I'm losing my shit. I'm like, oh no. I have to be on that flight. Stop fucking with me.
With your dogs.
Yeah, with the dog in the airport. It's a full-on fight. And then I show her, I'm like, I don't even need to show you that stuff, but I show her a full medical prescription, like everything for the service dog. It's like fully legal. Normally you just say it's service dog. And I did the paperwork before the flight. And she's like, I have the authority of refuse you. I called JetBlue. They don't want to answer. They're refusing me. Since that day, I never flew JetBlue again. And then I was mad. And then I missed the flight. And all that, you want to know what happened is when I got there the next day, I actually got frauded. Like they took my money on that house deal. They stole me $24,000. And then I was able to recoup $16,000 and they left with $8,000 of my money. So I was trying to push things and life was telling me that it's not working. And I was rushing to get to the house. And actually, if I didn't make it and the deal would have been canceled, I would have saved that money. And it's just like, you're frustrated when things happen. And then when you zoom back, you're like, oh, okay. So now it's like when things are not working, because my last 2 real estate deal, it was not working. And I pushed it. And the last 2, it's a mess. Like things happening. I'm in a lawsuit in LA. I'm suing the building for abusive behavior and all that stuff. And it's like, it's crazy. Like, because life will tell you
big lessons. These are really big lessons, like especially when there's work on the line, there's something that you're just pushing for. I've been in these situations also where like the universe is just sending me these sign after sign after sign. And I just have blinders on. I don't want to see it. I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear. And then in retrospect, after something happens, I'm just like, yeah, there were a lot of signs that I missed, like a freaking billboard. It's like, don't do this deal. And I'm like, nah, they're not talking about my deal. And sure enough, that billboard was for me and the message was for me. And I'm like, don't do this deal. Okay, cool. Got it. It's like a new movie coming out. Don't do this deal. And I'm like, and it's just your angels talking to you. It's just the universe talking to you. It's really wild.
People will say, oh, it's coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. When coincidence align every fucking day, bro, it's a sign. They're talking to you.
So let me give you a quick story on that front. This is something I rarely share this. Okay. So I'm pretty divinely connected, right? I think of myself and have for the last decade since we really had our awakening. I've done the plant medicines. I've done the work. I hang out with, and I'm in the conscious community, right? This is what I do. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I was always really frustrated that I didn't have any angels, that I couldn't hear them. I would go to psychics. I would hear these readings. They would tell me like, oh, you're surrounded by these amazing angels. They're right there and they're right there and they're right here. And wow, everywhere you go, is it this crowded and this noisy? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I believe you. And I think that's awesome. And I feel that I have that protection, but I never hear them. They never give me messages. I never get any downloads. Nothing ever happens. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm at Burning Man and I'm kind of sitting in a dust storm and I'm kind of thinking like, where are my angels? And I'm kind of asking myself like, where are my angels? And I hear very loudly and very specifically, we're everywhere. And like, I looked around, I was in a dust storm. I was relatively sober at Burning Man. And I looked around and I was like, did you hear that? There was nobody around me, but I was like, it sounded like it was like somebody was like projecting on me, like we're everywhere. So from that second, the dust clears and I'm riding home and all of a sudden I heard my angels everywhere and I saw them everywhere. And I didn't see them like there's an angel walking by. But instead, it was in the conversations that I would overhear. I'd be thinking about something, like asking for an answer. And then all of a sudden, somebody else would be riding by me on a bike, having a conversation. And that part of their conversation that I could hear was an answer to my question that I was asking.
That's crazy.
And all of a sudden, since then, this was 5 years ago, I have been tuned into all of these different signs that are around me, all of these different messages that are around me. And I've never been more aligned. I've never been more on point. And look, don't get me wrong. There's still plenty of times where I miss messages or I don't listen to something that was for me, right? But all of a sudden I started to realize that what your reticular activator system is filtering through is often filtering through the noise of the 4 billion different signals that we interpret every second, are the messages that I need to hear and the downloads that I need to get. Yeah. And when you're paying attention to these things and you're opening yourself up to hearing these things, it's one of the reasons why I don't walk around with these in, there's times when I turn transparency mode off, but most of the time, if these are in my ears, transparency mode is on so that I can hear the environment around me and start to pick up on these downloads and these answers and then correlate them, of course, to what's going on in my world. Really wild. And I've never shared that story.
Yeah. Well, it's super cool because like for people that, it's funny because always people ask me, so what do you hear? Like, cause I'm like, they talk to me, like I hear voices, but if you add those download, you know what it's a weird type of voices. It's more like if someone was dropping in your mind, just the word like, okay, do business with Craig, boom. And then you're like, okay, it feels in your heart the same way that it feels in your mind. That's how I know it's not just the voice. Like, it's just not like your mind thinking about the past or whatever. It's like, it feels here and it connects, boom. And then I'm like, okay, this is what I need to write or whatever. And it's always hard to explain to people because different people download different way also. And it's just, don't question it. Like the more you'll get in tune, the more, cause I'm like you, I was like I have a girl that she was having download. She was like my, twin flame or whatever. Like, and she was giving me download from my higher self. And then I was like, fuck, they never talked to me. I was just like that. Never talked to me. Like I'm not receiving download like that. And then when I started really getting in tune, it's because I had an expectation of how it's supposed to sound or how it's supposed to be. And it's a whole different other experience. Totally. And to translate that to meditation and the bed is actually when you quiet down that mind, you can get an idea of how your subconscious and your vibration will connect. Because once you shut the prefrontal cortex, you will start feeling inside and hearing and being like, okay, that's how it's supposed to feel. That's how it's supposed to sound. And trust me, when you're going to start investing in all the biohacking and investing in yourself, that investment will quantify your business, your relationship. Totally. It's everything. Like once you understand that you're the master of your life and you control your reality, you will invest in those things. And it's like sometimes I tell people how much I pay for technology and stuff. And I could buy Lambo. I could buy whatever I want, whatever I thought that I wanted when I didn't have money. I'm like, oh, I'll buy a Lambo for sure. Now I'm like, no, let me buy that bed. Let me buy that sauna. Let me invest 100,000 in a coaching program. And then 100,000, I can buy a brand new Range Rover. But the thing is, it doesn't fulfill me like that fulfill me. And I know the more I get in tune with myself is the best investment because that can never be taken away. Like the person that you became after 10 years of growth, nobody can take that away.
Feels amazing too, right? Like driving the Lambo, that's a great experience. Don't get me wrong. And it gets you from point A to point B and you're certainly gonna have onlookers, but feeling inside your core, you know, there's something that we're swirling around, and that is being in flow, being in alignment. You've mentioned several times, right? When you're in flow with the environment around you, if you're getting into a business deal and it's like pushing a rock up a hill, one thing goes wrong after another, and this issue that you got to fix, and this doesn't happen, and that's not happening. You got to do. That's the universe telling you that this probably isn't something you should be doing, because the deals that just move, that just go, they're just in flow. That's just like, you're just rolling. You just start the rock rolling down the hill and it just rolls to the bottom and you go, okay, this is easy, instead of you trying to push that rock up the hill where everything is a battle and you got to figure this out. You got to figure that out. When you're in alignment and when you're taking care of your mind, body, spirit, and you're in alignment yourself, the people that are around you that show up are also in alignment.
Yes, because it's a frequency. You recognize it into other people. And for relationship, like when I was really in tune, that's when I manifested my girlfriend, my dream partner. And she had everything that I am on a sheet. Like she showed me, she still had the sheet. We got to do a podcast this week. She's going to show, I was tattooed. I was an influencer. I was this, I was that. And everything was on the list. And I had my list of what I wanted. And same thing when I was looking for this house. It's like when I walked into my house, I've seen a lot of houses before. And this time I was ready to wait. I was like, when I'm going to feel, it's like I got in the house and then I walked 5 steps. I'm like, I like it. I go in the kitchen. I'm like, this is it. We're renting that. And then my girl is like, you didn't even see the rest of the house. I'm like, I don't need to. I just heard it. This is the house. That's she's awesome. Like, she's walking around doing the other rooms. There's 4 rooms. I didn't see any of the room. I didn't see shit. I saw one plate and then the kitchen, the view on the lake. And I turn her to the real estate agent. I'm like, this is it. Pull the paper. I'm applying today. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I like
same thing happened with me in this house. I knew that this was our house. My wife is like, I hate that house. And I'm like, no. You don't understand. That's the house. Yeah. My RV's parked outside. I like the kitchen. I like the floor plan. I like the layout. I like the bedrooms. I like everything. Like, this is the house. My wife is like, you're nuts. We're going to keep looking. And I'm like, I told the real estate agent, like, pull the paperwork. Let's get going. Yeah. That's our house. And sure enough, nothing else worked out. And this was the house for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah. And
I'm glad, we're grateful we're here.
For business, for any relationship, people are like, it's like I was asking your girl recently, one of my girlfriend's friend, I'm talking with all of our friends because I'm giving them a male perspective of what a higher men think, how we want, what we want. It generalize a man perception. And I'm just telling her like about her ex. And I'm like, you didn't see all those red flags. She's like, no, there was no really red flag. And her friend is like, yeah, there was tons of red flag. Like you said, that's what you said. Like people are like this. No, there was no red flag. I'm like, think about it.
Look, we're optimists at some point, right? That or the sex is really good because good sex will keep you in a bad relationship for a very long time.
But, that's so bad.
We want things to work, right? I think at our core, human beings are optimists in general, and we think we know what we want. And a lot of times we don't see those flags, but our friends do, right? Like I've got a friend who needed to leave her business partner, like badly. And I hinted around it and I certainly made some suggestions towards it, but that's not really my place. I just knew that, hey, this isn't going to work out. Like, I'm just hearing what you're talking about. I'm hearing what you're dealing with. This is not going to work out for you. And the sooner you figure that out, the better. But the last time I saw her like 2 weeks ago, she's like, yeah, I'm leaving my business partner. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I was wondering when that was going to happen. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yes. Like, yes. She's like, you're not the only person that said that. And I'm like, that's right. Like,
yeah. And I'm the same. Like when I coach people or when I give advice, I don't put my personal opinion. So it's like, I'll be telling my girlfriend, I look at her and I'm like, the relationship's not going to work. Like, and now she understands after 1 year, she's like, you never been wrong ever. I'm like, I got a feeling. I see 2 people, I see their energy. I'm like, it's not going to work or it's going to work. And recently I had a friend from Canada and I look at his relationship with his girlfriend. It's been 2 months. And I'm like, it's not going to work. I know it straight. And then I'm like, I start asking questions. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm asking him a question. I put him on the vibe bed. I'm like, you're going to go meditate for an hour or 2. And then I give him all those insights for 3 days. And I put him on the 3rd day on the bed because I had a lot of things to teach. Like, it's like my program. There's certain, there's line of how I do things. And then the first day I told her, I'm like, I just heard the voice of the girl and I'm like, it's not going to work. And then sure enough, 3 days after, guys go back, text me the first day. He's like, oh, I told my girlfriend that we're done. It's not going to work. And I never told him that he should leave her. I was like, how's your relationship? How's thing? How's work? What's your final purpose? Like question. And the guy realized that it's not what he wanted. And you often see it from an outside perspective. That's why that's why I'm still mentored. That's why I still have coaches. That's why I still have guides, because you're always growing. And sometimes you don't see what's in your face. But I like doing meditation because most of the time I'll be able to see it, but we're not perfect.
But that's why investing in that $100,000 program is never a bad idea. Right?
Yeah.
It's always a good idea to go into that immersive experience, to gain somebody else's attention, to have an outsider looking at what you're doing day in and day out, the decisions you've made, the thought processes that built into those messages. And here's the coolest part. We change. I know they say like it's really hard to change a guy or a girl in a relationship. It's hard to get to the reality.
If you want to change, you want to change, you can change.
Those of us that are growing, growth is change. Growth is an upgrade. It's a change in perspective. The same decisions that got you here are not the same decisions that are going to get you there. And it's doing that work. It's working on yourself, educating yourself, changing your perspective. I mean, that's the coolest part. You're on the other side of a course or an immersive experience or something like that. It's transformative. You're a different person. You're making decisions from a different place with a different knowledge set. And oftentimes that's going to catalyze you in a much different direction, often in the direction of abundance and overflow.
Exactly.
Really phenomenal.
And the word that a lot of people, to finish the podcast, like the word that most describe the whole experience when they come at my house, it's like another friend, Jamie, she actually met you she used your bed in a cryotherapy place in Vegas. They have the cryotherapy and the bed next to it. And she was like, oh, I tried this bed before. I'm like, yeah, get on it. And I made her do the red light therapy sauna, then the shower, and then this. And then everybody is like, oh, it's like I'm going to the spa. Like, wow, if I had that every morning, I'm like, that's why you should invest. Because
here's my evening routine, my personal evening routine. I've got a little gym set up, which is nothing more than a big yoga mat. I fatigue my muscles. I do push-ups. I do as many push-ups as I can until I can't do any more, as many sit-ups and crunches, as many squats, and then as many pull-ups in that order. And the whole intention is it doesn't matter how many I do, as long as I'm exhausted and I can't do another one, right? So I fatigue the muscles. I get into and I usually have my heart rate up. I get into my sauna for 20, 25 minutes. Now I have a nice sweat. I go and take a shower. And then I go in my sound lounge for 22 to 33 minutes, depending on the night and depending how I'm feeling. It is the best evening routine. I usually get to do it 3 or 4 times a week. If I could do that every single night, lights out. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
I do the same when I wake up, except for the workout. I either do the rebounder outside or I'm going to go for a jog. But I start with a sauna, then the shower, then the bed, and the workout, I do it a little bit after, but it's literally like you're at the spa. You're treating yourself every single day. And imagine if you had that feeling, guys, when you're done with your circle of cold bath, sauna, blah, 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 at the spa, and then you finish a nice massage because the bed kind of give you that massage vibe. And then you wake up, eyes cross side, and then you're like, wow, that was so good. Like, so good. And then you'll see it in the vlog when Jim is out of the bed. I got him right when he's out, and he's like, oh, bro. I'm like, which planet were you on, bro? And then this is exactly what everybody says. Jamie said the same. It's literally like being at the spa. And imagine if you could live that, because you can, every morning. It's all about an investment. It's like the Road to Abundance program. You invest in yourself and it will change your life. And if you can do you in the morning first, it will change your business. It will change your relationship. It will change everything. So any last note you want to tell them? Anything you want to add?
Look, we're going to put a link down below. It's going to take you to a site where you can get your 90 days free in our app. I highly recommend downloading that and checking it out. If you have any issues, send us an email. I'm on the other side of that email, by the way. So you can call or text anytime. You'll find our phone number on our website. If you have questions, just note that you found us here with Mike on this podcast and you saw us on YouTube, and let me know how you found us. And again, I make myself readily available. This is what I do all the time. Call me daytime, nighttime, weekday, weekend. It doesn't matter. I look forward to your call, and I'm grateful for every second we get together, Mike. Every time we were just talking about Amex and different point programs. Like this is one. Your knowledge is Spence. It's just beautiful and awesome, and I'm super grateful. And I hope we can do this again and again.
Yeah, man, for sure. Anytime. I'm always open. Like the reason why I learn everything about everything is because I like to share with people. And when I coach someone, I want to be able to give them advice on every single topic. And thanks for joining us.
Flyer miles and like card benefits. Like it was just and I don't even know how we got there. Oh, we were talking about the camera and Dell.
Yeah.
And with my card, he said, you have a platinum card. I was like, yeah. Anyway, it's just very entertaining.
Yeah. So guys, I will put the link below. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for tuning in to Road to Abundance. I will see you in another podcast. Have a wonderful day.